Hello and welcome to United Stand. It's FC ZORYA LUHANSK versus Manchester United in the Europa League on Thursday night, and this is the United Stand preview. And as I get the live comments up for you now, and speaker like this, no, I did it on Saturday, that's not a good idea, but as I speak to you now, there is something I think that's very important when it comes to Manchester United this season. And a lot of you say, what would you have done differently this season? It's not just a question for me, I know. I think a lot of us think this, but what would you have done differently to solve the issue that we've got? Because I accept we should have 10 more. I mean, it's Premier League, isn't it? Cup's not been too bad, but it's Premier League. We should have 10 more points than we've got. People go on about bad luck. You know how I get annoyed with the players the next day coming out and tweeting saying, oh, keep with us, the luck will change. I don't believe in bad luck. I do not believe in the bad luck at all. I think at the end of the day, you can have bad luck in maybe one game, but to have dropped 10 points, it's not bad luck to have dropped 10 points over 5 games. It's bad mentality, it's weak mentality, and he needs to sort that out, especially in the last 10 minutes. It's ridiculous. However, if you're asking me how I would have solved this problem, and I think I said it, well, I did say it, don't go dig the video out. I would have approached this season in a very distinct way, and that would have been to have a team in the Europa League and a team for the Premier League. Now, stick with me on this. When we were talking in the summer and we didn't get rid of all the dead wood, we knew that it was going to be very difficult for us to use youth players like Twansibi when you've got too many dead wood professional footballers on a lot of money at Manchester United who he's going to have to give game time to. I'll go through those names in a moment, but we've got, you literally, I remember doing the first game of the season, and it was like, it's not who's going to be in the first 11, it's going to be who's on the bench, because there's going to be players missing out on the bench because we've got that many players. So the way I would have approached this, and I think this is where we've gone massively wrong, instead of using the squad or having a Europa League team and a Premier League team, what he's done is he's gone half and half. And actually, most of the time, we've played a lot of players on Thursday that then play on the Sunday, and we've dropped points. And we've, people say, somebody said it on Skype Goldbridge last night, maybe it's not weak mentally, maybe it's weak physically in the closing parts of games, because we have done it a couple of times where we've played on the Thursday and then we're playing on a Sunday. It's not the same as the Champions League. I've explained that to you before. So this is what I would have done. Let's get through my team on Thursday night first of all. Let's do that. I would go with, put Romero in goal. Why not? Give him a game. He's done okay. I would put Fosu Mensah at right back, because I just think it's ridiculous that he's not playing any games, and why not play him in that? He's not going to, by the way. I'd put Daley Blind at centre back with Phil Jones. I'm disgusted with Rojo, to be honest. I don't care what anybody says about him playing well. That was a ridiculous tackle, and he shouldn't play in a Manchester United shirt. Not again, but he should be punished by the club because he was so bloody lucky. So lucky. My left back would be Luke Shaw. I don't know whether he's fit or not, but if he is, he needs to play. I would not be playing Michael Carrick. I personally, anchoring that midfield, I would have Schweinsteiger to come and do it. I think he can do that job. I would get him to do that. I would play Herrera in the box-to-box midfield. I would give Pogba a rest. I would play Mata on the right. I would put Rooney at number 10, and I would play Memphis on the left. And up front, I would put Marcus Rashford there. Now, I know what you're all saying, we need to win this game, but it's ZORYA. And these are the sort of players who I think, Memphis may well be off to Everton. There was big rumours that he was off there anyway. Balassi's now out for the season. If that deal was going to happen, it will happen now. But, he's got to work towards that deal. And I just think we need to... Spurs is still, some people are still clinging on to the fact that we can beat Spurs. Well, this is an away game 3 days before that. 3 days before it. Don't play Martial, don't play Pogba, don't play Mkhitaryan, don't play Zlatan, don't play Pogba. Give them a bloody rest so they're fresh for Sunday. And this is where I think we went wrong. What I would have done is I would have had a team for the Europa League and I would have had a team for the Premier League. My Premier League team, De Gea in goal, Valencia right back, Bailly and Smalling as centre-backs, Blind or Shaw at left back, Carrick Holder in the midfield, Herrera and Pogba in the midfield as well, Mkhitaryan on the right, Martial on the left, Zlatan up front. Then your Thursday night team, listen to how good our Thursday team could have been, and we wouldn't have needed to mess up like we have in the league. I would have had Romero in goal, I would have had Fosu at right back, you could have played Jones and Rojo or Jones and Blind. You could have put Darmian at left back if you wanted to. You could have had Schneidlin anchor in the midfield. You could have used Schweinsteiger in the midfield there as well. And you could have had, at number 10, you could have had Rooney on the right. You could have had Lingard up front. You could have had Rashford. And on the left, you could have had Memphis, Ashley Young or someone like that. And then you're not using any of these players on the weekend. And that, if you'd just drawn a line in the sand at the start of the season and said, We do want to do well in the Europa League, but we don't want it to impact on our Premier League form. So my Thursday team is going to use the wider squad. And our wider squad is massive. It's literally 2 teams. But he just doesn't use it. He uses most of our first team players on the Thursday and on the Sunday. And I think that... I mean, I don't know what you lot think. There's a few of you watching. Let us know what you think. That's because I just really think that we should have done that. I know I said think quite a lot there. Let's have a look at some of your comments. The Legend of Gaming says Depay. You know what? I think I'm saying think a lot, but Sunday is a massive game for us. We've got to beat Spurs. They're mugging us off on my timeline at the moment on the Twitter account for the United Stand. I'm not having it. I want to beat them on Sunday. They're the bottler. We're the king. We should be the kings of the north. They're the bottlers of the north. As soon as they go past Watford Gap, they lose their bottle and they become jelly babies with no spine. We've got to beat them on Sunday. But I think if we go, what I think Mourinho will do. That's what I was going to say next. ADWS says our wider squad can't win the Europa League. I agree with that. I agree with that. But if we hadn't used the likes of so many first team players on a Thursday night, then again on a Sunday, then again in the Coca-Cola Cup, then again on a Sunday, then in the Europa League, we've just been using our first team players all the time. And I think it's a massive mistake. If he was going to do that, he should have got rid of a load of these squad players in the summer, because there's people like Ashley Young who's hardly played at all. Memphis hardly played at all. Schneidlin hardly played at all. There's a few players like that who've hardly played at all. What's the point? We've been playing weekend, midweek, pretty much since the start of the season, and we've not used the wider squad at all. And I think it's been a massive mistake, and I think it's caused us the problems that we're in. And I don't care if that second string hadn't won the Europa League, but I bet we'd be in a better league position. I would say we've gone arty-farty, airy-fairy into both. We're going to try and do both by mixing and matching, and we should have just prioritised the Premier League with our first team. We spoke about it in the summer. We said, Zlatan and Pogba and Mkhitaryan will probably just be utilised for Premier League games, and we'll have a different team in the Europa League where he's using some of the people like Fosu Mensah and stuff like that, and Ashley Youngs and people like that who can do a job. But he didn't. He didn't do that. He's just gone half and half. What's the team I think he'll play on Thursday? I think Zlatan will definitely start. We do need to beat ZORYA to get top of the group so that we get a favourable draw. But we'd beat this team with the likes of Rooney and Lingard anyway. So I don't know why we're going to do this, but I think this is what he'll do. I think he'll play De Gea in goal because he wants to win. I think he'll put Valencia at right back. I think he'll go Jones and Rojo. I think he'll play Blind at left back or Darmian. I think he'll get Carrick anchor in the midfield again. I think he'll play Pogba and he'll play Herrera. I think Rooney might come into the team somewhere. Maybe he'll put him on the right. I don't think he'll play Martial. Might put Rooney on the left, actually. I think he'll put Mata on the right. I think he'll rest Martial and Mkhitaryan, but he will play Zlatan up front. For me, he's got to play Marcus Rashford up front. He's got to play Marcus Rashford up front. I'm fed up of seeing him on the wing, and this is the perfect opportunity. Away in Europe, teams don't like pace away in Europe. Continental teams don't like a lot of pace. He's got a lot of skill. I'd play him. A few of you on about Fellaini. I mean, I've not put him in the team, but I've just got a funny feeling he will. He's got some sort of stubbornness, but we've done enough about Fellaini. But Sam H is saying Fellaini to West Ham on loan news. If West Ham want to make that mistake, I mean, their season's bad enough without taking Fellaini there, but off you go. Oddie's saying that Mourinho's got personal issues and any sensible human being can see he's super insecure and feels inadequate. I mean, I don't know what you lot think. I really just think that we've missed a massive trick in trying to pick a first team all the time instead of just using that wider squad that you chose to keep in the summer. I mean, I don't really understand why we've kept Ashley Young or Schneidlin or Memphis. It's a lot of money. These people are on a lot of money. Ashley Young's on over 100 grand a week. Memphis won't be far off that. Schneidlin's probably on about 70 or 80. This is a lot of money that we could have just... how much has that cost us since August to now? You're talking at around 300 grand a week. So it's, it's a million a month on players that just aren't getting any game time. It's ridiculous. I know it's not all about the money, I know that. But I do not understand. In some of these Europa games, we should have done it. And I think mental fragility or what, but we just... Zlatan doesn't have to play every game. Pogba doesn't have to play every game. Keelan Lynch says, I feel as if United are losing the game in the first or last 10 minutes. And I would drive Fellaini to West Ham myself, says Louise. I think we'd all do that. And Navneet says, I fear that Pereira would get game time if he came into the team. If he came back, whether he'd get game time. It's a good point. Ali Malik says Ashley Young's our best player. I doubt that, but I think he can do a job. Skulls your gigs, says Craig Riley. Skulls. Timo J says use 2 teams. I can't believe that we missed that trick. I mean, we did speak about it pre-season, and a lot of us expected him to do that. I never expected to see Zlatan playing each week. Young and Valencia on the wing equals beast mode, says Marco. I'd love to see Valencia playing out on the right, by the way. I think he'd be brilliant. And I've always said that Valencia would make a good midfielder. We are blessed with midfielders, but I think he's a fantastic player. ADWS says, Mark, football's a business. We should have a smaller squad like Barcelona. We do need a much smaller squad. I mean, I think the sad thing at the moment is that you just can't get the likes of Fosu or Twansibi or Pereira had to go out on loan. You can't get the future, the players that we want to see, even on the bench at the moment, because it's full with crap. But I don't like the way that the way we've used the Europa League, and it's not ideal, and I really do think that we have overused players, and that has cost us in the latter points of the game. I mean, this is something I've been thinking about all week. I was very angry after the Everton game, but when you've lost 10 points in the league like we have, and in a lot of those games we've thrown them away, having got into winning positions like Stoke and Arsenal and Everton, you've got to look at it and go, it's a recurring theme now. People are making mistakes. Why is that? Are they mentally weak, or are they getting physically tired? Are they panicking? And I just think it's too much football. It's too much football. It's too much pressure. And I think we're putting ourselves under a lot of pressure. And I think the manager is. I feel sorry for the manager. You can just see that pressure. He doesn't look happy. I want to see Mourinho smiling. And he doesn't smile enough because he's putting a load of pressure on himself. And I just think if we'd split it and gone, right, I'm going to have a Europa League team. I'm going to have a Premier League team because the Premier League is my priority, which everybody knows. There's no criticism of that. It should have been our priority. I think it was. And I think we've dropped too many points. Europa League, we'll reassess it in February if we get through the group. But I trust, because he's kept them anyway, I trust Ashley Young, Schneiderlin, Lingard, Schweinsteiger, Phil Jones, people like that, to play for me in the Europa League. It's 6 games before Christmas. They can be on the bench as well if they do well. You know, even Rooney, because he's not the first team player at the moment. Because I just think we really missed the trick. And what you get then is, you get people who are playing in the Europa League knowing that if they play well, they might be able to force them way into the first team. Whereas at the moment, we just know Zlatan's going to play every single game. Pogba's going to play every single game. And then they get fatigue. And people wonder why. Fabregas in January, says Jose205. I've not heard anything about that, and he is playing for Chelsea, as is Willian now, who we mentioned last week. Evening all, says Kevin H. Mark, if 3 managers can start Fellaini for 3 years, I do think Memphis could have been given a chance, given the fact that he has got only 1 year here, says Lovenish. Mark, would Cameron Borthwick-Jackson get in ahead of Shaw at the moment? He was doing very well at Wolves. I don't know. He's got some height on him as well. But then again, Luke Shaw's over 6 foot. People don't realise that. So, Rude the Master says, how can you talk forever without a pause? I've talked football forever and ever and ever. Fabinho to United, Mark says reactions. I don't think it'll happen because I think Monaco are doing quite well. I don't think he's a January signing, but you never know. And he's a right back, so you know I think we need a centre back first. Score prediction, says Louis Van Gaal. Well, he's gone 1-1. You never know away from home. I think that's the problem as well. I think we can pick a good team. We won't necessarily get a result. I would go... Minecraft Gamer wants a shout out. I would go... I think United will win. I think we'll win it 2-1 or 3-1, to be honest. I'm looking forward to it. 6 o'clock kickoff on Thursday, UK time. So not many of you might join us for the watch along from 5 o'clock with the team news. But do join us as you come in. I could sell 3 players. Who would you... If you could sell 3 players, who would you choose, says Navneet? Very easily. Fellaini. No, I'd sell Fellaini. I'd sell Schneiderlin. I just don't think it's working out for him, and I don't actually think he's good enough. I think he could be a good squad player, but I'd rather have Matuidi. I'd rather have Fosu Mensah. He's not quick. He's not the sort of midfielder I want, to be honest. So Fellaini, Schneiderlin, and I'd like to see Rojo go, to be honest. I know people would say that's a little bit harsh, but that would be my top 3. I just think Rojo... We are terrible on crosses, and people seem to ignore that. We are terrible on crosses. People think Rojo and Phil Jones had a good game on Sunday. I don't think they did. I think Carrick protected them quite well. I think Lukaku got away from them a couple of times, and I think if Enner Valencia could actually head a ball, we might have lost that game. He had a free header because Phil Jones and Rojo got stuck underneath it. So I would be getting rid of one. You can live with one as a squad player when everyone's injured, but you can't live with 2. And also, I thought that tackle was just bloody selfish. You know what? In the first few minutes of a game, to launch yourself like that, 2-footed, it just shows a lack of brains, which I've always said about Rojo. I think Mourinho's done a great job with him and he's improved him a lot. But you can't give somebody a brain when they haven't got one, and I thought that tackle was brainless. So I'd get rid of him and get a centre-back. And for those people who like Rojo or Schneiderlin, there's not many who like Fellaini, what I would say is we're Manchester United. There's a lot of players in our squad who actually I like, but I would get rid of to get better players, because I think that, you know, they might be nice people, they might try really hard, but I remember what Manchester United are like as title winners and how good we can be, and we should have better players than what we've got, because we've bought badly over the last 3 years especially. I think Mourinho bought well in the summer, by the way. So, you know, just an example of somebody I like but I would get rid of for somebody better in time. I would probably get rid of well, Ashley Young, definitely. I've got nothing wrong with him. I think when he does come on, I think he gets it. He understands what it's like to play for Manchester United, but I think we can get somebody better than him. I'm not getting rid of Martial. I'm not getting rid of Mkhitaryan, Herrera. Although I do think in the future Herrera will be a bench player, because I think we can have a better midfielder than him, but he'd be very important on the bench, as I think Daley Blind would be. I'm trying to think of somebody really. You know what? I might be controversial here, because I've always backed Chris Smalling, but I think we could have a better centre-back, because I like Bailly, and what I'd like to see alongside Bailly is somebody who's just an absolute monster, whether it's in the air or not. We need centre-backs who are going to go and win the ball, because I think Bailly can do it, but we are so bad on corners, whether it's crosses into our box or scoring them. I want two centre-backs like Pallister and Bruce and Vidic and Ferdinand, who just go and win things in the air, and that's what we need. Daniel says, Mark, what do you think about the Neymar transfer rumour, and do you think it will happen? No, don't really want him as well. It just strikes me as about money, and I think we've made that mistake before. And Ultra Neon says, just watch the Rojo tackle for the first time. Horrendous. It was. I think the club should punish him, to be honest. You know, take some responsibility and just don't play him for a couple of games. Craig Riley, this is my favourite channel. You deserve more people, but I'm sure you will get more. Hopefully we will do. That reminds me, actually, I'm going to just go for this now. Shameless plug of the United Stand. We started it in the summer. You may well be aware there is. We do have a Patreon page now. What Patreon is? I think there's a United podcast who've got it, and they get like a couple of grand a month from it. Well, United Stand is totally independent. We do daily content for you. We don't get a lot of revenue from ads. I'll be totally honest. The future isn't necessarily bright for the United Stand. We are getting squeezed by the corporate people out there, because we are independent, and you know, people don't want us to grow. We will only grow with your support, and you're fantastic. You all get involved. There is a Patreon page. It's the link is in the video description. You know, I think we get about $40 a month at the moment. If you want the United Stand to get bigger, and it can do, please pledge to the United Stand. You know, whether it's $5, which is what, £3 a month, I think, sterling. Please do it, because it's the only way we're going to grow. It opens up a lot of opportunities if we can start to bring some revenue in. You know, we've never really been about that, but I think it's about time it was, because the bigger we're getting, the squeeze is on. So it is your channel. We do, you know, I know when we started in the summer, we were slightly different to what we are now, but we're doing Skype Goldbridge every Monday. We're getting people in on the watch-alongs. We're doing another Skype Goldbridge tomorrow night, where it's you lot coming on the show. We've got lots more ideas around interactive stuff we'd love to do, but it's time permitting. And, you know, that sort of support, financial, would help us a hell of a lot. But it definitely is becoming more about you lot. And if you can, you know, people ask us all the time, how can I get involved? How can I help you? So that's how you can. It's in the link. It's in the link. The link is in the video description. See, I start stumbling when on them sort of things, because I'm not necessarily comfortable with it. But I know what the reality is. I know what the future will be for the United Stand if we don't start to bring something in, because I know what's happening behind the scenes, and we will get squashed out. And that, you know, I've got to be honest. I mean, whether we'd be here in a year if we don't start bringing something in, I doubt it, because I know what's coming, like I say. But I can't force anybody. But if you are with us on the United Stand, you know what? I'm sure you pay money for shit as a monthly basis, and hopefully you enjoy the fact that you are part of a community. You do get at least 20 minutes of live footage a day on the United Stand. On the watch-alongs, you're getting 4 hours. On a Sunday night, you're getting an hour. On the Skype Goldbridge, you're getting an hour. So you get we you know, we're not one of those one uploads a week. We do give you a lot of time and a lot of content, because we enjoy it, and we'd like to be able to do a hell of a lot more. So all I would say is, if you can, please click on that link below and supporters, because if a podcast that's loaded up once a week can get a couple of grand in their viewers supporting them, which I think is amazing, you know, if we could get half of that, it would be a massive, massive help. If you've got any other ideas, what I must just finish with, and what I say is, if you've got any ideas about how we can improve, you know, whether you know any big people who might want to help us out or stuff like that, we're never going to not be independent, and I'd rather be funded by the fans because I think that's better for us. But we have got some ideas. People have said, why don't you do a Kickstarter? Because we've got an app ready to go. It was just going to cost about 10 grand to do it. So if you think a Kickstarter campaign's a good idea, or if you can think of other ideas, but the reality is, it is your channel, and I'm, you know, if you want to contribute to it, please do. But as I said, it's all down to you, like, if you want to do that. But we are starting to feel the squeeze. Somebody just said there, Sin Champion, stop begging for a living online. Redmen TV, a lot of their content, you have to pay for it. We're not going to go down that route. We tried that in the summer. Somebody said to do that. I didn't like it. It doesn't work. It alienates people who don't want to watch, who don't pay to watch it. So we wouldn't want to do that. But there you go. FIFA 17, Ricky Clarkson, it will be back. It's just a ridiculously busy time. I have actually got some time coming off soon, so hopefully I'll get one uploaded. But the reality is, there you go. Laura King says sponsorship, yeah, it'd be great. But like I said, we're getting squeezed. There's certain people who don't like the United Stand, and they send that message out massively to a lot of the big corporate people. We are independent, and we will stay independent, and we will, you know, our reputation isn't good because of the wider thing, and it's squeezing. Replenish Rue, why you're not getting YouTube money yet? You do get YouTube money, but YouTube is dying off. I mean, what I would say, if there are any ads on a Manchester United Stand video, just watch the full 30 seconds. It helps us, but there's not a hell of a lot coming in, to be honest. Sin Champion, I'm not having you abusing people on the live comments. We do have a community here. You're entitled to earn some compensation for your work. Don't listen to the idiots, says Dev. Where is Coco Mark, says George Kyle. We will get him back. What's your lineup, says Vijami. That was right at the start. Very quickly, I would go Romero, Fosu Mensah, Phil Jones and Blind, Luke Shaw. I'd anchor the midfield with Schweinsteiger. I would play Herrera. I'd play Rooney, Mata, Memphis, Rashford. He's never going to do that. He's going to pick first team players. But my point at the start for the person who asked that was what we should have done is have a team for the Europa League and a team for the Premier League, and we're in a bloody better position. But there you go. White Snake says Chevrolet should sponsor the United Stand. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? But you know what? If you want to contribute, the Patreon thing's in the bottom. It's your channel, and all I would say is, if you do, you are contributing to something that is yours and you are part of. And I hope, regardless of whether you do or you're not, I hope you do, but whether you do or you're not, I hope you do feel that you are part of something, because I think we've built something amazing over the last 18 months, and we can't do it without you, and you've been brilliant. So regardless of whatever, tomorrow night, bonus content. See, we're doing loads for you. Skype Goldbridge, we did it last night, we're doing another one tomorrow night. I want to talk more about transfers tomorrow, but we will be driven by you. Skype Goldbridge, 8:30. Mark Goldbridge is the Skype name. We'll be live from 8:30, and it's you lot coming on the show. I want to get through at least 15 of you get on the show tomorrow, so we'll whiz through that. And then on to Thursday night, boom, we've got the FC ZORYA watch along, which will start an hour before kickoff, so that'll be 5 PM UK time, all the way through till full time, which will be about 8 o'clock. Friday night, 8:30. Basically, you've got live content every single night on the United Stand at 8:30, with the live preview on Friday night for the Spurs game. So, and also Van Cam will be uploaded, so you get loads of stuff. Thanks everyone for watching. Get commented below if you've got any thoughts about the channel or anything like that, about how we can do things. But I think the most simple thing is, if you just click that link, you can see we're not offering up bloody, you know, give us $50 a month and we'll come and wash your car or anything like that. It's just very simple, and if you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. But thanks for watching. Drop us a like, and make sure you support the most important new content on the channel, and that is your voice on Skype Goldbridge tomorrow night at 8:30. Thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you soon.